Now to an interesting story coming out of Stamford Bridge even, where Blues boss Mauricio Pochettino says his side should be in 4th position according to all the data. They are 11th in the Premier League table, 17 points behind 4th place Aston Villa, and ranked lower than 4th on goals, shots on target, possession, passes, touches in the opposition box, expected goals for and against, and big chances. So despite him saying that the data suggests they should be in 4th, they, according to the stats that we have, are way lower than that. What is he talking about? What data does he have that we don't have?
Yeah, you've got to be careful sometimes because you can sound like the Riddler from Batman, where you've set a task. And yes, Chelsea have missed, by the way, lots of chances. I've watched a lot of Chelsea this year. They are very guilty of not converting the chances they create in games. They are. That's a definite. But that's very vague, to say that, you should be in the top 4 just on chances created. What about the mistakes made that have allowed teams to score, which has clearly been happening as well? Chelsea have made a lot of errors defensively.
Do you think sometimes we are in a footballing era where we talk far too much about data in the sense of, well, I mean, even my own club heavily use data, and we always say, yes, but if you look at the table where we should be on this, and this, we are in a much stronger position than where we really are in the table. And that I don't know, we used to use it as a hook line, that the table, people often say the table doesn't lie, but our hook was the table does lie. Because based on data. Do we live too much on data sometimes?
It's become used, and it's going to get used even more in the future. I know I was at a gambling conference the week before last night, and they were talking about data that's going to come via AI, which is going to be scary, isn't it? The data. If AI get involved, and now it's got to be true. But it can be very misleading as well, because it doesn't take in human error and decision-making, which they would say, well, that's going to happen in the future. Decision-making will be taken in. So data can be misleading to me. I like to use it, but I also want to use my eyes to see what I think is happening at a football club. I think Chelsea are very guilty of missing loads of chances. Yes, like the data suggests, but they're also very guilty of making loads of mistakes that give opportunities to teams to score.
Yeah, you're finding Chelsea are scoring more now.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's the issue of defence that's been a problem. I know they've got injuries in their back line. That hasn't helped, but they've been conceding still, which is a big problem for them. Prior to the international break, they also were involved in the FA Cup quarter-finals, and they got past Leicester. It wasn't the easiest of games, 4-2 in the end, and some of the Blues fans rounded on Raheem Sterling. A few boos ran out with surrounding him, and this is what Pochettino after the match had to say about it.
What we cannot do is to create more, bigger things that were emotional in some point, because I really believe the fans love our player and love and support our player, and for sure they are going to support him and the rest of the team. I think I know that the teammate need to be a good teammate, and player can talk and can express the emotion also and the opinion. But I think we need to be careful in the way that we are going to talk and to give our opinion, because I think we need to build a strong relationship in between everyone.
Okay, so that's what Mauricio Pochettino had to say. And there is always a danger, isn't there, Cass, of a toxic environment breeding. And unfortunately with Chelsea, we've sort of, I don't want to say it's toxic, but we have seen there is obviously issues going on with the fans and what's going on with the owners and with what's happening on the pitch as well. The only way, obviously, that can be changed is by getting more positive results for Chelsea.
Oh, and seeing an improvement and fans getting excited about the end of this season and then what they go into next year. But what happens at football clubs now? They look for scapegoats, and certain players will get it if they underperform, and sometimes it can be the highest earner. Raheem Sterling's not loved by Liverpool fans. He's not really loved by Man City fans. He's not been loved by Chelsea fans. It's a bit of a continuation with him. And yet he's got an incredible goal-scoring record. He's had some really top quality performances for all of them clubs. You know, he was part of a famous three at Liverpool, in a forward line. Man City, he'd won many trophies and big part of their history. And it's been a tough ride for him. I thought in the season he was playing superbly well, Raheem Sterling. Now he's in a forward line of, you could argue, Palmer, Jackson and Sterling. Is it quite right? No. But it looks like it can be dangerous. And I just feel Chelsea fans are, I don't think they're picking on Raheem. I just think it just naturally comes sometimes that the guy who's achieved a hell of a lot, lost his England place, was in the Euro team that done really well, you know, was a star player at that tournament ready for England. It's sort of gone on the wane a bit and people are not quite feeling he's the future.
Chelsea 11th in the table. They have played only 27 games. They're the one team that's played the fewest in the league. They're 5 points behind West Ham in 7th, while they are 8 points adrift of 6th place Manchester United, who they face on Thursday, interestingly enough. So actually, there is a chance that Chelsea could easily climb the table. And that would be a very successful season in the end if they could finish in a European spot.
There's a lot of ifs in there, but what you have got is a side that if they can show something between now and the end of the season and ruffle a few feathers along the way and have a good end to the season, it could be a lot brighter going into the pre-season and ready for next year. Because Chelsea fans haven't seen too much of that, have they, Nat?
No, that is very true. Word on Burnley coming into this. They obviously went into the international break after a really morale-boosting victory over Brentford, 2-1 win that was just before the break, as I mentioned. It means they're now 5 points from safety. Can you see them causing Chelsea trouble?
At times I've seen it, but not often enough. They've conceded way too many goals. Vincent's had a lot of issues, obviously, finding his best 11. It's really strange football, isn't it? Imagine if we come in Monday, we're on tomorrow morning, and Burnley have won at the Bridge.
Changes things.
See, that's the danger you have as a player and as a manager, that one result can change everything overnight, that you get beaten by Burnley. This is a dangerous opposition for Chelsea, and Burnley have really nothing to lose, as in they could go after Chelsea and try and win the game. And that's what Vince and company started with, was that idea at Burnley. When he originally took over the club at the Championship, it was all about going after the opposition. I think they've got to slightly get back to that.
Well, a win would take them on to 20 points, which, if other results went their way, would mean they're only 2 points off safety. That would certainly change the complexion of the relegation picture as well. Bear in mind, they've also, in April, got fixtures against Everton and Sheffield United to come, teams who are obviously in a similar plight to them.
I used to love that, Nat. You know, going to games where before the game, everyone's thinking, no chance. Everyone's from the outside is thinking, you're thinking, do you know what? We might be able to do something. They're not that good. They give us chances. I've talked about Chelsea defensively. They give you chances. Yeah. We could go here and get something. And then you wake up the next day and you've had this incredible result and the spring's in your step for the training the next week and you're all buzzing. You know, it's a dangerous game for Chelsea. You get to 60 minutes and it's 0-0 and it's Stamford Bridge. There's a few rumblings going on about the performance. It can happen.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.